Hi everybody. So this is our second day of heading into the woods. It is the afternoon. I'm still working on half days right now so that the horses get in shape, and truth be told, it's actually so I get in better shape. A lot of times if I go right to logging really hard and heavy, at night my legs will cramp up, so I have to build myself up kind of slowly. So today we've got Lady and Bill again, and these two are kind of my main logging team, but I will use the blacks quite a bit also, and I'll show you them working as we go along. Also, like Brenda told you the other day, we have my Amish neighbor working for me a little bit part-time, and there's a pretty good chance he'll be helping me some in the woods, and he can be driving one of the pairs as we skid these logs out this winter. So what I'm doing again today is walking out from the barn all the way down, and it's actually like, well, it's over a mile to up to where the actual log job is, and it's about a half mile down to where my landing is, which I normally would drive in with the truck and trailer, but I'll explain why I haven't done that yet when we get down there. So we'll head on down through the sleigh ride trail and swing in through my neighbors to get to my other neighbors to work on this log job. So here we are coming to my neighbor's land. It is a section of a lot of hard maple, and they actually have another person come in here and sugar in here. And there's a lot of different ways to sugar, of course. And for the people that do this, they just have their pipeline and they leave it out in the woods, even on the off season. And it's not into the trees, of course, but come spring they will re-tap these and put them, to get sap for sugaring. Catch up. I'm not sure how many taps they do have down here, but I think around 1,000 taps if I remember right. And so that's their springtime work. For those of you that don't know anything about sugaring, it usually happens during March in this part of the country anyways, but it varies quite a bit. As you can see off to the right, that field, I actually own that. We have like a 14-acre piece that's not connected directly to the farm, and so that's where that is, and that's where my landing is. So we have a good old sharp corner right here. Gee, careful. I had come down here a couple days ago with my roller and actually rolled the trails, so it's kind of nice through here. So now this turns into my property, our property that we have. Off to our right is my skid steer that I use on the landing, and then my logging cart. The cart I have right now is just a farm cart that I use for whatever needs to be done on the farm, mostly spread manure for this cart. And then that's my logging cart right there, and I will be back in just a second for that. But what I want to do is take the horses out across this field, because I have not drove my truck into this field yet. This part of the field is quite wet, and a couple days ago, like I said, I came down here with a roller, and the horses were sinking into the mud quite a bit in the field, just on this end of the field. And so I want to just go up there and see if the ice is good and hard. Oh! As you can see, we're actually breaking through a couple spots there, which could cause trouble with the truck. Oh. Standing water right there. And that's surprising how little that froze from 2 days ago. But yesterday was a semi-warm day. But anyways, it'll freeze up soon enough. Sorry about the audio on the video today. The wind is blowing terribly in this field, so it makes it really hard to talk without having all the wind noises. So a lot of this stuff that I wanted to tell you, I'm just not going to be able to tell you today because of the wind. So here I unhitch my one cart and hitch onto my logging cart. I think tonight I will just drive my logging cart home so that I don't have to keep hitching and unhitching. Cast up. Camel. Oh, bye. I'm pretty sure it's going to be faster and easier for me when I have the road in here with the truck and trailer. Coming in here, taking it out of the trailer and hitching onto the one cart. Bye. Hope. Jerry. Oh. So when I'm starting up a log job, first thing you have to do is make all the trails. Now this is a log job I've been doing for a couple of years, so the trails are all made, at least to get in to start with. But I have, I think, 4 bridges up through this trail. So every year I got to make sure they're okay. This trail here is always my biggest concern because it's a rather deep ditch that we're going over. Because of that, I want to make darn sure that it's solid enough to hold the horses and the logs coming out of here. So last year I actually put on another set of boards, but these boards are just out here all winter long and all summer long, and they will rot pretty fast, so I got to make darn sure they're still okay each year I come in here. So I came in here, I had to cross over this bridge with my excavator because that's actually up in the woods. I'll show you when we get there. And so it has to be pretty rugged to be able to handle the excavator. And then I packed the snow down over the top of the bridge to help it freeze and stabilize it, and so it's a better bridge. So it was fine yesterday. I just went in and I cut and skidded up further where the excavator is, and I just brought one log down through. And so we'll head on in, continue. Most of the trail is pretty good, but right here there's some soft spots. But there again, it won't take long to freeze up now. This job, it's a very wet job right there. It's very wet, of course. Now this property that we're on now is not the owner's property that where I have the logs on. This is actually another neighbor's land that we have to go through. So we have to go start on my land, come through one neighbor's land, come back on my land, then turn into another neighbor's land, and then end up on the neighbor's land that we're actually cutting the logs on. But anyways, it's really, really swampy in here, and so it has always taken me every year quite a while to get the trail froze up good. And then you really only have approximately 2 months to get out as much wood as you can. And it's also a long skid. It was, at one point, it was actually 3/4 of a mile to the back of this job. Well, that's an awful long ways to skid logs with horses. And I've tried numerous different ways to do it. If you were to go back to last winter's logging videos, it would show you the numerous ways I used to try to do the job, and I'm still experimenting on new ways. So I hope to maybe show a few of those new ways even this year. But every day it gets a little bit better as far as freezing, and it just won't take that long and we'll be logging hard. With the excavator, I've made a bunch of ditches alongside the road to keep the wetness off the actual road, and it's actually worked really well. I do hope to be able to finish this job this year. Another wet hole here. Here's another one of my bridges. I'm not so concerned with this one because it's really close to the water and it's very shallow. Oh, the other day when I came in here with the excavator, I had 2 trees right here that had fallen over and hung up into those smaller trees there, and I had a little bit of trouble getting them down, but I was glad I had the excavator to help. And cup stop. Here's another spot right through here that has been terrible, terrible, terrible. And but a few years ago I made this ditch along the side of the trail, and it's just made a huge, huge difference in my ability to get through here in this swampland. There's just so much water coming down through off this side hill off to our right, and that helps me out tremendously. Yesterday was a fairly warm day, and I think the trail was actually better yesterday. It seems to have thawed out quite a bit since then, so I may not bring any logs down through today just to protect the trail. Wait till it freezes a little bit harder. Oh. I saw this rock moving a little bit, so I better get it out of my trail. Hi.
Hi, I'm at Tractor Supply,
Mm-hmm.
and I was wondering, they don't have that blade.
Really?
I was wondering if you got new clippers and that's an old blade.
All right, step. Oh. Okay, here we are at my upper landing. So yesterday I got a few hours in the morning and got a few hitches there and a few hitches over there that I skidded down off that side hill. So that's where I'm cutting. Soon on one of my videos I'll start showing some of the stuff that I do in the woods. But for right now I need to change some clothes, shed some clothes, because when I come in from that long trip I want to have a lot of clothes on to stay warm. But I never did use my gloves. Mittens, I mean. Went and bought these heavy-duty bib overalls, which are really nice to have, to slip on. These are nice, but I'd hate to have to work in them. But by tonight it might be cold, so I might really want them. So I'll put my chainsaw chaps on. Before I do that, I want to put my tape measure on. My chaps are really getting pretty ragged. Sometimes I actually wear chainsaw safety stuff underneath my black pants here, but these chaps work pretty good too, but they're getting pretty old and they're a little bit short for me. I've tried a few different chaps on, but I don't like them. And I like this one, but I don't even know what kind it is, so I can't seem to find another one to replace it. Okay, so then a lot of your hard hats have actual liners in them. They're okay, but I prefer wearing just a kind of a light hat. That way I can take my hard hat off and do some other work without the nuisance of a hard hat. And it fits right on perfectly over this hat. So now I'm ready to head to the woods. So that's all I'm going to show you for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I do hope to have a lot of videos out this winter about how I log and some more things about just my life in the woods. Have a good day.